claiming an emphatic 9-wicket victory in the second test at Galle, and it is because of this Australia have managed to clean sweep Sri Lanka 2-0. This World Test Championship has ended on the absolute high for Australia because they now are the only team in this entire WTC to have not lost a single series. I mean, look at it. When they started 2-2 in the Ashes contest versus England, that was a draw and it got their World Test Championship after a very rocky start. Then in the series versus New Zealand, they managed to win 2-0. But then they won 3-0 against Pakistan. They drew 1-1 at home versus the West Indies. Then came two tricky assignments against India in the Border Gavaskar Trophy and against Sri Lanka. Australia won the Border Gavaskar Trophy 3-1 to all but sealed their spot in the WTC final. And here in Sri Lanka, they have managed to pull off something spectacular with two tests they have won rather convincingly. Let's look at the first two test matches, how it happened in Sri Lanka. Steve Smith was the leader with a brilliant century, and in both the games, he's ensured that he's one of the best test players in the world. Now, his twin centuries combined with Usman Khawaja's double 100 in that first test and the spin trio that was there. And if you want the spin duo, Matthew Kuhnemann and Nathan Lyon ensured that Australia managed to pull off victories quite comfortably in both the test matches. And because of that now, Australia have managed to give a big statement and now they will head into the World Test Championship final against South Africa in Lords high on confidence. Matthew Kuhnemann, Nathan Lyon, Mitchell Starc, then looking at it, Bo Webster with his off-spin bowling has also chipped in this Galle Test match. And it was a sad end for Dimuth Karunaratne to ensure that his test career was over, his international career was over. He bowled and Marnus Labuschagne got a couple and a single to ensure that, yes, Australia won the Galle Test match by 9 wickets. This win is even more important for Australia because they have managed to win a series in Sri Lanka after 14 long years. In 2011, under Michael Clarke's captaincy, they had won 1-0, having won in Galle. Then the matches in Palakele and Colombo were drawn. After that, in 2016, they were whitewashed 3-0 for the very first time. Then in 2022, it was a nip and tuck series 1-1. And that is why now in 2025, this victory is very, very sweet for Australia. They have conquered one of the major things in Asia, which was to win a test series, and they won it 2-0. So, looking back at this entire WTC cycle, we all expected that Sri Lanka would put up a fight, but then in Galle, Australia totally turned the tables with their batting performances. I mean, Travis Head gave them a start. Usman Khawaja came back into form. But everything was Steve Smith. The way how Steve Smith batted 36 test hundreds, centuries in both the innings, both the first test and the second test, ensured Australia always were ahead of Sri Lanka. And the way how they nullified Prabhat Jayasuriya, especially. Prabhat Jayasuriya has a fantastic record in Galle. The way how he was neutralized in the first test, in the second test, in the second innings or in the first innings, he got 5 wickets, but that was too little too late. The batsmen are at fault because none of them, apart from Kusal Mendes, managed to get going. So, Australia are the only team in this WTC cycle to have not lost a single series anywhere. 2-2 England, 3-0 versus Pakistan, 1-1 versus West Indies, 2-0 versus New Zealand, 3-1 versus India, and now 2-0 in that sense. So it is a dominant show by Australia that has put on. Pat Cummins was not available. Hazelwood wasn't available. But Steve Smith, take a bow. What a test match series he's having. 200 catches also. He's now become the first Australian to reach 200 test catches as well. So everything that could go right for Australia did go right. India will end the WTC cycle in the 3rd position. For Sri Lanka, they had a chance. And that is why now, unfortunately, they have faltered in all of the other test matches that were. They lost 2-0 to South Africa. In this way, this is how this series has ended. Now, I'll take a couple of comments. Freaking awesome. Australia are winning a test series in Sri Lanka after 2011. It seems that they're planning a test series in SLF in 4-5 years. That's true. Will Varun get 1 out of 2 ODM and Kuldeep failed badly 2023 World Cup and 2024 T20 World Cup final? Danush, I don't know about that. Whether they will make the change today in Cuttack, let's see. Mr. Creator, Australia is the ultimate champion, not plastic champions like India. That's harsh. But yes, if you look at ICC and cricket, Australia are the GOAT team. Freaking awesome. Although they got the surface they wanted in the second test, Sri Lanka bowlers are inconsistent in line and they bowl a lot of balls outside the house, even when the ball is turning square. Yes, Sri Lanka this time really had a big problem. Raj Mohan K, Steve Smith, tactical brilliance with his field and change with bowlers and his batting. I guess they will miss Cummins as a player, not as a captain in Champions League. Steve Smith will be very good. But yes, the firepower will be lacking Raj Mohan, that is why. Parity Central. So even if India had won against New Zealand 3-0, India wouldn't have reached the WTC final. The 3-1 loss to Australia killed off all hopes. That was an unfortunate thing. So that's the way we look at. Thank you so much, Ashish Bedbuta, for this. And India lost the ODI series against Sri Lanka, but look at Australia, so dominant even in Test series. Australia now plays better spin than the Indian team. That's true. But then see how Australia square up in this two ODIs. That will be very important. So now the Test series has ended. Australia will now play the two ODIs before the Champions Trophy. So let's see how they fare up in that also. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. And yes, Test cricket is over. You're only going to see white ball cricket now until May. Test cricket will resume in June with the WTC final between Australia and South Africa at Lord's. Bye-bye and subscribe to Sports Today.